Thanks for joining us today. So, why don't you just give us a sense as to what your company does? That'll probably be a good starting point.
Sure, yeah. Well, we are an audio company. We have Dysonics, we're based in San Francisco. We're a group of engineers that have been working in spatial sound, psychoacoustics, a lot of engineering mumbo jumbo for about 15 years. So this is not new to us. Some of our early kind of research was put into Creative Labs, Sound Blaster, 3D audio products. So we've been kind of working on this stuff for a while. Over the past 6 years or so, we've been focused on 360 media, audio only, all motion tracked content. We've been showing around to up and down California, and people were always impressed, but nobody knew what the big driver was going to be for 360 audio. Why do I need motion tracked audio? Well, now you fast forward a few years and everybody's clamoring to find like what the best 360 audio solutions are. So we've been working on that. We focus on three big areas, which is capture, creation, and playback. And so happy to talk about those more.
Okay. So in terms of where you feel audio's place in virtual reality is, or kind of where the industry has it positioned, it's not where it needs to be. Is that a fair statement?
No, not at all. I mean, I think audio is, I don't want to offend any video people here, but is inherently more complex for a number of reasons. None of which is just that it's like the Wild West for audio right now. There's really no standardization. You know, Dolby has their formats, and there's YouTube, and there's us, and there's DTS, and there's no really standard for 360 content, right? Because it's inherently a different problem. People are moving around. Audio has to kind of move around, and how do you do that? And there's a bunch of different techniques. We have our own kind of tools and technology to do that, but we try to be agnostic and support the creators in whatever format, whatever approach they take. But it really is the Wild West of audio, and I hear that over and over again because there's no standards, and I actually don't really see any formal one standard. This is how you're going to produce audio anytime soon. So I think it just is going to depend on what your distribution strategy is, and that you start from there. And depending on your distribution strategy, you're going to have a few different options.
Okay, and certainly organizations like SMPTE, who should be leading the fight on standardization for formats for VR, is frankly still just coming up to speed with understanding what VR is.
Yeah, and that's the problem, I think, is that, you know, with the amount of people that are jumping into VR, it's moving so fast, and it's so fast that these big organizations and big standards bodies, they just can't keep up, right? So next week there's going to be something else, and you know, the standards bodies are already, you know, 6 months, a year behind. So the content creators, the community can't wait for standards to be met. So it's just a matter of, we at Dysonics, we actually take a play from the Radiant playbook, as we actually work with creators to find out like what are the pain points in the production side of things, and see maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe we can leverage some technology that we have. Maybe it's a totally new solution that doesn't exist today, because that's how fast things are moving.
All right, so in terms of the technology that you'll be demonstrating over in our kitchen area after the lunch break, what have you brought to show people today?
Yeah, we have several things. So as I mentioned, we focus on three kind of main aspects. There's the capture side of things, right? So you can capture just like you would normally do with a bunch of labs. You might know about there's a Tetra mic. There's, you know, Sennheiser has an Ambio mic. These are all kind of ambisonics-based microphones, if that sounds familiar to you. We have our own 8-channel microphone. This captures in a binaural format, a 360 binaural format. Happy to go into more details about that later, but the result of capturing in binaural, it's capturing just like you would hear it if you were there live, right? So we hear with 2 ears, so imagine capturing audio with 2 ears, but we capture it with 8 ears. And then what we do is we stitch those ears together as you kind of move around. So in terms of kind of getting that presence, you know, that sense of actually being there, you're not going to be able to produce anything higher quality than what you're going to get with one of our 360 binaural mics. So that being said, we have a live demo, so we can show you a live capture. So it's streaming in a live microphone signal, and we're using motion tracking and headphones. And this is just audio only, but you can actually move around in that space. We can put the camera in a different room and capture that conversation, what's happening in that room, and then somebody else listening in can kind of move around in that space and feel like they're actually in that other room. They're going to hear audio just like they were standing in that room. So the second thing we'll be highlighting is our tools, our post-production tools, because that's actually been a huge pain point for a lot of the people in the industry. And we're continually talking to content creators to figure out what those pain points are, and again, trying to come up with solutions to solve those problems. So we've come up with a tool set called Rondo 360. Again, the 360 means it'll create content for 360-degree media for VR, but it really, if you're doing anything headphone related, generating any kind of headphone audio, this is going to be a great tool for you to use. Again, you can use traditional mics, traditional mic recording techniques, a bunch of labs. You can use audio that's just been totally generated in post-production, not recorded. You can use an Ambisonics microphone, like a Tetra mic. You can use one of our microphones. Doesn't matter what the format of the content that you have. We provide the tools that will plug into your existing kind of audio production workflow and allow you to create that 360-degree mix. We then also sync it with video, and we will export it into whatever the distribution formats are today. Those are typically, the YouTube 360, Facebook 360. There's some other 360 platforms out there like Little Star. And so it's a kind of end-to-end workflow for 360 audio production.
Very good. So VR, the sound in VR, it's critical for really creating that sense of presence, or put it the other way, done wrong, really breaks that sense of presence. And a lot of the more compelling use cases for VR are actually very audio intensive sorts of things, live concerts, those sorts of. What would you say the best available technology is in terms of content delivery for a piece which is critical in terms of sound, like say a concert? How do we actually get that out to the end user?
Right. It's evolving quickly. I wouldn't say that there's the ideal solution exists yet. So I'm going to promote ourselves a little bit here. We like to work with content creators, and we have the 360 players that use our format. So our format is again, that has the kind of the best fidelity that you'll get. You'll really get that sense of presence. It's not supported by all platforms yet. We're working with platforms to support this format, but we do have, if you have your own app, if you control the distribution of your own content, we have all the Android, the iOS, the Oculus like media players to play back that content. So we can integrate through an SDK directly into your kind of distribution platform. I would say that gives you the most control, because we're a company that likes to work with the content creator, so we can devise a solution that works. Using our tools is another example of being able to take live input and broadcast that out live. I didn't mention that before, but that's one of the things that we're really focusing on, is being able to broadcast live content. Most of the people that are interested in doing that is in the music community. And the reason we designed the mics, we partnered with Telefunken. If anybody knows the Telefunken mics, we partnered with Telefunken to build this microphone array, to re-engineer some of their microphones so we could fit 8 of them inside this array, because they're really phenomenally sounding microphones. You see a lot of the cameras that come with small little lav mics in a camera, and the pickup on those is not going to be great if you're doing a really high quality, high fidelity production for music. So you see these big capsules that we have, these gold-plated capsules, and it's really going to capture just natively without doing anything else. You're going to get a really crisp, clean sound just from that one array.
Excellent. So again, over in the kitchen after our lunch break, you'll be able to talk with folks from Dysonics, take a look at how their software works, and get a little bit of a demo as well, right?
Perfect, yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Robert, thank you for joining us here, and come back for our Q&A.
Absolutely.